Substance Designer received an update. Now it's called Substance 3D Designer. And why is that? Well, you can create a Substance model graph, which means that you can create procedurally generated models, I guess. So, without further ado, let's create a procedurally generated model for a barrel, because I can't figure anything else out to do. Okay, so we want to create the staves, just like in our material video. So the workflow is going to be a lot different though. So first we want to create a controllable number of staves. So we are going to create an integer. And set it to something like maybe 18. Is 18 staves good? Only one way to find out. And then we want to divide 320 by the 18. So I'm gonna create a float. And then we want to do a binary operation on float. We want to divide it. Division. So I'm gonna set this to 320 because I forgot to. And let's just plug this in. A very nice thing is that it automatically created an integer to float node. Pretty cool. And I need to create a stave out of this number. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a primitive 3D, and we need to expose the width input by pressing right here, and then we can plug it in right here. So we got this. And we can change this value, and it changes the width. Pretty cool. But we need to set up some other things. So first, I'm gonna set the height to something like 110. The depth to something very small, like 2. And we need to maybe round it a little bit, so we can use the bevel radius parameter here. Is good. And also we will, since we're gonna bend it later, we're gonna make the number of segments on height higher, 16. So visually nothing changes, but there's actually more polygons. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a curve based on this number here. So curve primitive. So it's gonna generate a curve, but we're gonna set the primitive here to an ellipse, and there's a tessellation parameter. We're gonna expose it and plug this integer in. So now we got a circle. It's a bit edgy, but and we can change how much sides it has by changing the value. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it. Then I'm gonna make a geometry instancing. So this is supposed to be our point set, and this is our scene, and we get this. Looks like a trash can with a hole in the bottom. And then we need to use an expand group instances for the next nodes to work. So first, what we gotta do is we gotta bend it. So we're gonna use a node called taper. So it's like a trapezoid transformation, but it works in 3D. Pretty useful. So we gotta set the top scale to 0909. So this is how it looks, but we gotta set the smoothness something like 35 maybe. Good. And then we want to set the top limit to 5. No, to -5. -50. Okay. And the bottom limit to -5. Okay. And this is it, I guess. And we're gonna create another taper to do the same thing on the other side. So we'll set the top scale to 1, 1. Just set the sliders to the maximum. Smoothness, oh wait, bottom scale 0909, like this. And we'll set the smoothness to the same value here. Oh, 35. We'll set the top limit to 5 and the bottom limit to 50. It looks good. Okay. Then I'm gonna use a node called JitterUV because I want to. So when we're gonna apply material, I want it to be kind of rotated around a little bit. So JitterUV will do exactly that. We gotta set it up first. So the U and V max will go like 1010. Boom. And the R minimum and R maximum go to somewhere like 80 and 100. So currently this doesn't change anything because we have no materials applied. We're gonna use a set material node, and we're gonna put the JitterUV in the geometry. And then we want to add a tag material node, and we're gonna name it wood. Nothing special. Okay, and now we're gonna create a new substance graph, a regular substance graph. We're gonna call it materials because we will create materials here. Of course, I'm not gonna model all of them. I'm just gonna use pre-made assets. So, wood. So we have a node here called Wood American Cherry. and it's pretty cool. But we gotta change some parameters here. So first, the wood color. The wood colors. I mean, it's good, though we'll make it less saturated, so it becomes more grayish. And just remove this little end here. Okay, good enough. But also what I want to do is I'm gonna show you how it looks on our model. Yeah, it's pretty ugly, but I mean, we didn't do anything, so I guess it's pretty cool. Oh, very slow. Okay. And also let's change the wood roughness parameter. We'll make it higher. Oh, okay. This looks good. And I'm gonna go back into our model graph. So we're gonna add a merge node here. So it basically can merge a bunch of geometry inputs. And right now what we're gonna create are our hoops. So let's start by creating two curve primitives. Curve primitive. And we'll set it to the primitive mode rectangle here. Length, we'll make the length 1 and the width just 5. It's small. And then we, in the second curve primitive, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set the primitive type to a spiral. If you watched my previous video, you know that hoops kinda overlap because of the way they're made. And I think we'll do just that. So first we want to make it flat. We'll set the radius 1 to 36.5, which is the inner radius, I suppose, or the other way around. The radius 2 is gonna be 47. So it's just, if you zoom in, you can see it overlapping. And we gotta set the loops parameter to just a little more than 1, so 1.05. So you can see it here. And then we gotta use a node that will create well, the model from these two curves. So we're gonna use a sweep curve node, plug it in. Ta-da! So it looks pretty ugly because we applied the wood material. And well, it's pretty ugly. For example, you can see that there is a hole here. But this can be easily fixed by a node called Mesh Cleanup. I found it when I was fiddling around with it. So we want to set to true the close holes. And we set the hole tolerance to all the way up. We're gonna compute the smooth normals too, and we're gonna set the tolerance to the maximum. So if we look the output, this is what it gives us. So as you can already see, when we apply material to this, it looks stretched. So we're gonna fix that later. So first we will move it and mirror it. So we'll have two hoops around two sides of our barrel. Transform source, and the translation is basically the position. We'll set the Y value to 50. And if we look at it, it moved. Okay, then we are gonna mirror it and input here too. And then if we look here, we get a mirrored version. Okay, next we're gonna merge them both together. Again, merges different geometry inputs into one object. So let me look at the output. Okay, back to the fixing this stretched out material thing. So we're gonna use a node called UV transform. Yeah, and we're gonna set the scaling to this first parameter to 0.2, and this something high of 5. And now it looks better. But of course the hoops aren't made from wood. So we're gonna use the jitter UV node, which allows us to displace texture. We'll set the U and V maximum to 10, and this is how it looks like. Then we want to use our set material thing again. Geometry. We can already plug this into this final merge. And this is how it looks like. Though we need a material to apply to, so we're gonna use a tag material, and we're gonna name it metal. So we're gonna create a metal material real quick by another pre-built generator. So we gotta type metal O2. I just really like it. So first we're gonna set the scratches, because I want scratches. I like details, and I like them to be a lot. And I'm gonna set the defrost to the maximum. On a second thought, maybe I will set it to somewhere around here because it looks pretty ugly. And we're gonna set the rust strips to the maximum too. And I don't want it to be pierced with bullets, so bullets impact amount 0. Now I can view it in 3D view as the metal, and we can view this in 3D view as wood. We are gonna add our last and final details, which are of course riveting. So let's start by creating a good old sphere by using the primitive 3D node. sphere. And we're gonna set the radius way smaller, so I'm just gonna show you it's that big to the compared to a barrel, so I'm just gonna set it to 2. So we can plug this into our merge, and it's supposed to be there in the center, but it's not. Okay, let's okay, so it turns out this version is a bit glitchy. You can't blame it at Adobe too much. So we're gonna move it. Okay, we're gonna use the translation section here. So it should be around 46, 50, and the C 5. So let us find them. Oh, here it is. So of course it has the wood material. So we're gonna do the same thing we did here. Can actually copy paste it, but I'm not gonna do that because this might take more time because I need to join and remove stuff. Ugh. Okay, mirror merge. Okay. Then we're gonna do a UV transform. And we'll set the scaling to 0.2, 0.2 here too. Nice. And we're gonna apply a material here. The same metal material as for the hoops. Set material, and great. You can kind of see the edge, but again, look how much we've done and what we've got. It's pretty neat, and we can change the values, so and everything works pretty cool, unless you go too low. It is gonna look ugly. So everything works. Also, I've fiddled around and created some variation in the width, and it was pretty hard. So you can see the same concept here, but we have some variation. We can change the slider value and everything works. Of course, I'm not gonna explain how this works because there's a ton more stuff here than I already did on the video, so this is gonna take more than twice the time. But if you're very curious, I am gonna link the file in the description. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'm out.